So my story of finding NLP and figuring out that it was right for me. I was about 15 and I was either like a freshman or sophomore in high school. The first thing I will say too is the person like me, for example, the client, I had to want to get help from outside people. Like if someone doesn't want to go to therapy or hypnotherapy, you can't force them because they're not going to open up and they're not going to talk and want to work on themselves if they don't want to. So at this point, I had really bad like testing anxiety. I would study, put the time in, did the notes, did homework, and I would go and take a test and everything went out the window. Like I could not remember anything, wouldn't ask questions, nothing. And the last memory I had about this being like a big deal was my biology final. So my mom remembered she had a business card of a hypnotherapist, calls her, I'm fine setting up an appointment because I'm like, I don't know why I can't test correctly. Like, please, let's figure it out. Do a few sessions with her, and I end up finding out throughout one of the techniques that my fourth grade teacher like traumatized me in that grade 2 different times, and that's what led me to like feeling the ways I do in class, raising my hand, like presenting, talking, basically in public in school. Now don't get me wrong, plenty of people like obviously are the same way. You sit down, you don't know what to do when you're taking a test. That can be like one of two things, either something like this or you're not in the same environment as you are when you're studying as you are when you're taking the test. Like you need to be in that mental space, whether it's you remembering what you were doing, what you were eating, where you were sitting, all of that, and getting back into that, or, somebody traumatized you when you were in fourth grade. So I ended up finding out through this technique that we were doing, and I don't know this off the top of my head. Like, she's asking me rapid questions, and I'm just answering, like, first thing that comes to my head, because it's with your subconscious mind. It works with your subconscious mind, not your conscious mind, even though you are fully aware and totally here and know everything that's happening. So through this technique, I figure out it was in fourth grade, and these two scenarios come up that I happen to remember, not knowing that this is what caused me these traumatic responses in the future. One, me and my friend, she asked me to go get her lunch card with her, and you technically aren't allowed to go over to the classrooms. This was in elementary school. You're not allowed to go over to the classrooms when it's lunch recess time. So she asked me if I could walk back with her because she didn't want to go alone. We walk back. The teacher comes out, this fourth grade teacher, yells at me for going with her, like after she finds out why we go. We're like, oh, she had to get her lunch card, and she's like, that's fine, but why are you here? And I'm like, she just asked me to go with her. Why are you talking to a little kid like this? Like, I was just being a nice person. You're teaching me that it's not okay to be nice, and then I'm gonna get in trouble for it? That was one. And then I got, like, detention during my recess time of lunch. Second was, me and my mom had this, like, routine of how we pack things. It was just me and her, like, back then, and I would pack my whole backpack up and leave it right next to the door, and then she would pick her suitcase up and my thing and put it in the car because she had a way of how she wanted to load. That was how it was like almost all the years throughout elementary school. One time, she forgets to put my backpack in the car with her stuff. Like I think she might have forgotten her stuff too. We get to school, I act like nothing happened. She's like, oh yeah, I'll bring it right now. So she gets there, we're already starting class, and she like comes up really subtly, like brings it over to me. And this same fourth grade teacher makes a whole deal about it. Big ordeal. Like, I swear to God, everybody in the classroom was staring at me. She's like, it's not her job to do that. I'm like, who says you have a say in this? Then she goes and says, like, I need to be tested for ADD and ADHD, which, no disrespect, but I'm like, how are you going to tell me these things when you don't even know me? Like, you're just making these accusations. And my mom was like, we've had this routine the whole entire time. You don't get to yell at her and say all that. Then we have a whole meeting with the principal. All of this stuff just, like, adding on to a kid in fourth grade, like who even knows what's happening at the time? So talking about it, I mean, I totally felt the like anxiousness build up, but I know it's not a problem anymore because I know how she is. And as a matter of fact, she is a nail salon person because she couldn't get another teaching job because she sucks. And she's not the type of person that should be giving kids their future lessons. Anyway, I found all that out with NLP with my coach, and so I was like, I would love to do that, like figuring out the reasons of why people act and like hang on to things and like basically live their life because of limiting decisions, limiting beliefs, and negative anchor. So when you figure out a way to release it with these techniques, and you obviously want to release these things, then it all works out and you can create the life that you want. So now I went and got certified in all of those things because I've always been told like, oh, you're more mature than people your age, which I felt like it. I didn't know why. I didn't know I was good at talking to people, but who knows? Now this is my job. And if I can share it with you and help anybody, my age group right now is going to be people, I'm 20, so 20 and younger. It can be a little older, but it's basically to help people my age or younger that don't feel comfortable talking to necessarily 40 or 50-year-olds as their hypnotherapist, that hopefully I can be a helping hand or a shoulder to talk to. And that's my story. Next, I'm going to share something that my hypnotherapist made me do when I was struggling with something. Stay tuned for more NLP with me.